you shared part of your story, which was becoming a father at 19 years old. So, Chris, let's unpackage that a little bit and talk about what were some of the initial thoughts that come into your mind. How were you able to continue on through school and finish on time and still maintain a healthy relationship with at that time, a girlfriend who was 3 hours away, who later became your wife?
Yeah. You know, there's a gentleman by the name of Quan Bryant. You know Quam as well. I was interning at the Mecklenburg County Health Department. My direct preceptor was Keith Cradle. Quam Bryant was part of the program, and then Adrian Sundiata was another program leader as well, in addition to Reggie Singleton. In a nutshell, I had four phenomenal men that poured into me during a time in my life I needed men to be present to show me what a man looked like. All four of those men, in a nutshell, I owe credit to for helping build and mold and develop me during that stage. And Quam in particular, I lead with Quam because he was presenting for the male involvement program as a contractor. And it was during a graduation ceremony of a cohort of men, fathers that were there. They were young, incarcerated fathers. And they were on a work release program. So they were soon to get out. And Quam and Keith and Sundiata were pouring into these brothers. And Quam was presenting. And they had all the families there. And Quam begins his presentation by sharing how he was really looking forward to the weekend because he was going to spend time with his daughter. And at the time, his daughter was less than 10 years old. She was under 10. So the audience goes, "Oh," right? And Quam says, "No, it ain't sweet. Ain't nothing sweet about it." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Like, everyone goes, what do you mean it's not sweet? And he goes, "There's nothing sweet about me not handling my business. So I got to ask another man permission to see my daughter this weekend." I've never lost my win before outside of a tackle or a hidden football.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my win. Kelly, I didn't have any breath left. I was gasping for air as if I had oxygen because his words punched me right in the gut. And in that moment, I said, there's no way, there's no possibility that I will not be with my girlfriend at some point as her husband. Because, and this may not be the answer everybody thought I would say, the pride in me, I would be I get blended families. I counsel a lot of blended families. I know myself. At that time in particular, I did not have it in me to have another man raise my kid. I was like, I'll die. I'm gonna die to make it work with this woman before I have to be Quan telling that same story of asking another man permission to see your kid because you didn't do what you were supposed to do, and the wife or the mother of the child ended up finding somebody else. So that really was the preparatory step in addition to the four mentors. Your other question, I was able
So hold
to.
on.
Oh, keep going.
Before we get into the second part of that, since you gave a little overview of how Quan's statement actually pretty much put an exclamation point on what you was to become in terms of a father based on listening to that statement and determining in that moment that that wouldn't be you. But you mentioned three other powerful brothers. And so I want to dig in just to bring to the audience's attention why it's important to not only step up in that role of fatherhood, but the importance of having elders and those whom you respect to be able to guide you so that you can navigate a path of what true manhood was. And so let's start with Keith, and then go from Keith to Brother Sundiata and finish up with Reggie Singleton. All amazing individuals who have took men through rites of passage and positioned themselves to be accountable for being strong, not only leaders, but at that time, Keith Crater was just a father figure and later became a father. But speak to them a little bit.
Hey, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak to these phenomenal men because they deserve a lot of credit for my development. And just to kind of encapsulate all three at one time. In my book, I tell the narrative of the story, and I use a metaphor associated with the movie A Christmas Carol. So A Christmas Carol is the movie about Scrooge. And Scrooge gets visited by three ghosts. Reggie, Quam, Keith, and Sundiata were my four ghosts, right? So Keith was the ghost that demonstrated what could be. He was a vibrant professional. He didn't have any children at the time. He had a stellar name in the community. He was fresh off of a Program of the Year award. He did everything proper. So Keith showed me what life could be if I stay in my books, I develop good relationships in the community, and I learned how to grow into a profession, right? So that was Keith's role, to show me, Chris, if you do what you got to do at school and you play the professional card, you can do what I'm doing. You can be a Program of the Year award recipient, okay? Reggie, he was that Black power figure that showed me I didn't have to be afraid to be who I was. Reggie would come up in an all-white staff meeting with the director of the health department with a spear and an African dressed outfit, organic African dress outfit, and throw the spear down in the middle of the floor like, I'm here, what's up? And the white folk just was like, okay, all right, Reggie Singleton's here, we're gonna keep going. And have the audacity to put his feet up on the table like he ran the place. So that gave me the confidence to see a Black man walk into an environment, be himself, because he was so confident in his ability to deliver a great program, and he just knew who he was. So I took that part with Sundiata. Sundiata was the ghost of Christmas that shares with you what you don't want to be, right? Sundiata's quick to tell you what you don't want to be. He'll tell you how he was a troublemaker growing up. He'll tell you how he hung with the gangbangers, and he'll tell you how he was a stick-up kid. He'll tell you how he had oops baby number 1 and oops baby number 2. He'll tell you how he played the field, but he'll also tell you all of that was a split image of who he really was, because those personas he gave off were to essentially run away from his true destiny, which he eventually found as a man for the people, as a man for Black people in particular. So I got to see all of Sundiata's trials and tribulations, attempting to be someone who he really didn't want to be. He didn't find out who he wanted to be until prison. And he said, I'm done being who I don't want to be or who people are expecting me to be, and he became himself. So I learned that lesson through Sundiata. And then with Quam, as I shared earlier, he also taught me what it would be like in the future if I chose not to invest in my wife, at the time, girlfriend. So all four of those brothers collectively poured their life experiences into me over the course of an 18-month period. And that was just godsend. And you've seen businesses articulate how they have a collective years of experience, like, over 100 years of experience. They may not have been in business 100 years, but they're adding up the experiences of all the staff. Well, that would be equivalent to what I got with Keith, Reggie, Sundiata, and Quam. I got almost 100 years of life experience amongst 4 Black men that got to be poured into me over an 18-month period. And then after I concluded my internship, graduated, I still keep relationships with these men today.
Peace, blessings, and elevation. We will bring you inspiring stories, expert insight, and practical tools and information to support you. Types in embracing our authentic selves, we can pave the way for a brighter future for ourselves and our children. Power, heal, and support fathers and men on their journey. I'm your host, Kelly Little, aka the Village King. Welcome to the Father's Haven.